One moment.
The start of the Lovin Daily. We go through all of the news. We're having some camera technical difficulties
No,
because
no.
we switch camera. Which camera?
That's this one.
Okay, we're back. We switched cameras, so we're trying a new one. Let us know how it is. Let us know the quality. We love your feedback. We're always tuning into the comments. I'm going to open up Facebook right now to see what you think. As always, let me know where you're watching from. Are you at home? Are you stuck in traffic? And I asked that because Rich came into the office like 5 minutes ago and he is late because of bad traffic. However, up from our, I guess, height up here in JLT, Sheikh Zayed from this side looks good. I think it's Al Khail around JLT. That's only one snapshot of Dubai. Where are you? Are you stuck in traffic? If you're stuck in traffic, I hope you're not driving. Yeah, we're opening up the comments. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, taking you through all the top stories in Dubai. Today we're going to be talking about the most expensive suite in the Burj Al Arab. We shared the video yesterday. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Basically, a pricey hotel suite. Looks phenomenal. I'd love to get your thoughts. We'll also be talking about the latest government cabinet updates in the UAE and what that means for you as a Dubai resident. But before we get into it and before we get into the safe city news that we want to share with you, I want to give a quick shout out to Lovin Extra. That's Lovin Dubai's exclusive membership service. You can sign up right now. If you go onto website, you'll find Lovin Extra. It's very easy. Now, what Lovin Extra actually is it's a way to get access to Lovin Dubai exclusive content. So we have our regular website, we have our regular platforms. Nothing changes for you as a viewer, nothing changes for you as a reader. However, we have a membership service. And what that is exclusive competitions, so more competitions than you'll find on our Instagram, more offers, more giveaways, and also this very cool Lovin Eco water bottle, which costs 130 dirham, but if you subscribe to Extra, it's only 15 dirham. Annual or monthly subscriptions, up to you. Jumping into our top story, Abu Dhabi is the safest city in the world. This is incredible for the 5th year in a row. Well done, Abu Dhabi. You are the safest city. This is really cool. Like, this is one of the reasons we choose to live in the UAE. It's so safe, amazing. According to Numbeo, which is a crowdsourced database, and the survey is basically like a snapshot in time of that city, and it includes questions about quality of life, cost of living, crime, healthcare, climate, traffic pollution, safety, everything you can think of. And the survey is worldwide. Now Ali, correct me if I'm wrong, because you can see the graphic, over 431 cities around the world are included in the safety rating. So this is not like top 10 in the region. This is not like top 10 in the continent. This is top 10 worldwide, and Abu Dhabi is number 1.
Wow.
It's amazing. So if you're living in Abu Dhabi right now, sleep easy. They've maintained the lowest crime score 5 years in a row. And that's why we went with the title Abu Dhabi is the safest city in the world, because it's incredible. Scoring 88.5% for safety. Love to get your thoughts on it. Quick question, Ali, what city did you grow up near? Because what's cool is you can look at the world rankings for this.
I grew up in the little village called Sened.
Okay, we need a city.
City.
Yeah.
Rafah.
Can you spell that for me?
R-I.
R-I.
Double F-A.
F-F. You didn't make it. What's the next closest?
Manama.
Spell that.
M-A.
M-A.
N-A.
N-A.
M-A.
Ah, you are 28th in the world for safest cities. I mean, so what's really cool is there are a lot of high-ranking cities in the region. Doha is 2nd, Sharjah is 6th, and Dubai, we are 7th on the list of world's safest cities, which is incredible. I had a quick look for the city that I grew up near, which is Waterford, which is an hour from me. It's not there. But I looked up Cork, Ireland, and it is number 127. But it's so, because I grew up in Cork, or near Cork, an hour away from it, and I thought it was pretty safe.
Yeah.
But world rankings, the region is really high up there. So if you're living in Abu Dhabi, kind of sleep easy tonight. And Abu Dhabi Media Office shared the scores because obviously they're proud. It's a great ranking. And that kind of goes to show you all of the work by authorities for our safety, and why sometimes, I'm not recommending you do this, sometimes you can leave the home with your door unlocked. Your house unlocked. Not that you should do it, but I remember when I first moved over here and I was a teacher living in kind of shared accommodation, and there was a couple of us in apartments, and we were probably filling up the entire building, and it was just a thing that you just didn't lock no one locked their doors, because it was like you're sharing with 3 or 4 people. If someone forgets their key, then someone has to deal with it, and never had an issue. Not saying you should do it, but we never had an issue. So yeah, that kind of got me. I was like, oh, you don't need to do it. Moving into our next story. So the updates from the UAE's first cabinet meeting of 2021 and what that means for you. So this week, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of Dubai, of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, he chaired a meeting in Qasr Al Wartan, Abu Dhabi. Now, this meeting pretty much sets the framework for the year to come. So it's kind of with all of the cabinet members, dignitaries, and there's a lot of information that came through. If you want to read it, if you want more information, go on to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed's Twitter account. All of the updates are there. So we've kind of condensed them in as short a format as possible. Basically, key priority for 2021 is health. Health is the priority. Said at the end of the UAE cabinet meeting, during the 50th year, we stressed we will continue our efforts and the journey of recovery shall not stop. Health protection is a priority and our community will overcome this year enthusiastically towards the future. I think that's a great note. It's positive. It respects the fact that we're in a pandemic. We still need to be looking at health, but it also highlights that it is the priority. And I think a lot of people, we're still in an uncertain time. We see numbers, new numbers, cases in the last 24 hours, 3,579. It's a scary time. So we know that the government is looking at that directly as the key priority. Moving on from that, a new media framework. You may or may not know the UAE gets a lot of attention worldwide, so there'll be a new media framework surrounding that. We know that we've had a lot of attention for the Hope probe, COVID efforts. We have a peaceful nuclear power plant, and it's kind of looking at the media framework surrounding that, working with local and international authorities to share the message. As well as that, there's a new federal government public debt strategy that's going to help improve financial planning for the UAE government, achieve financial sustainability and create a competitive economy, which we already have. Also, very interesting, and Ali is a student who came here from Bahrain, the UAE foreign students can now be visa sponsors for their families. So foreign students who study in the UAE can now sponsor their families if they are financially capable. Which means your family could have been sponsored by you, which is just kind of turns the whole thing on its head, right? Because usually you imagine
your dad sponsors you.
Your dad sponsors you, or someone who's working sponsors everyone else, but the student can sponsor the family. Interesting. Would that have changed? Because I'd say you come here as a student and you live in student digs or accommodation. Is that even a thing here, student digs? As in digs is like students all go to live, or kind of like cheaper, affordable housing accommodation for students.
I think it's just dormitory inside the universities. Yeah. But if you're in the UK, then it's different a bit. You know, there's dormitory outside.
Yeah. Would that have changed it? Would you have considered sponsoring your family?
I like for me, if I needed a visa and I was able to sponsor my family, yeah, of course, definitely. But
it's just opening up the world, opening up the UAE to the world. You know, we know that there are so many visa options. You have kind of visa options for people who are retiring. We have visa options for people who are possibly working overseas, who would like to work here during the pandemic. It's really opening it up. And this is just one more aspect of that. Opening it up, we know that a lot of people come to study here from all over the world. And now the fact that they can bring their families with them.
It's a fantastic opportunity.
It is a fantastic opportunity. And finally, the UAE Circular Economy Policy, so a comprehensive framework for determining the country's approach in achieving sustainable governance. Like I said, all of this is on His Highness Sheikh Mohammed's Twitter account, and we're also going to put a more in-depth article up there. But just so you know, the cabinet met for the first time in 2021, UAE-wide cabinet, and their priority is health. Their priority is your health, making sure the distribution of the vaccines happen, continuous access to testing, which we know has really helped curb the spread of the COVID-19 vaccine. Not as clear in other countries. We've been so lucky here, and that will continue until we recover, because he said the journey of recovery shall not stop until we're recovered. Moving on to our next story. So this is what the suites in Burj Al Arab look like. We posted a video of the inside of a suite at the Burj Al Arab on Instagram and Twitter yesterday. It got loads of attention, loads of likes, loads of shares. And I kind of get it. I mean, we see the exterior of this truly iconic piece of architecture every day if you live nearby, but we see it in pictures, postcards. I don't know if people do postcards anymore, but we see it online, we see it on Instagram. But how many of us have actually been inside the Burj Al Arab? And even fewer, I imagine, have actually seen the inside of the presidential suite. So this is what this is. So have you been inside the Burj Al Arab? If so, what is your experience?
Tell us.
I haven't. but I there was a Ramadan. I've actually been in twice. There was a Ramadan iftar, a media night, in the Asian restaurant there. So I got to go in for that. And then another night, and I would really recommend doing this. I had a friend visiting, so we went to the top of the Burj Al Arab. There's a gold bar, and it's a minimum spend, but the cocktails are like sensational. And you probably get for the I'm guessing here, I think it was like 200, 300 dirham for like probably 2 or 3 cocktails. But it was the whole experience. We dressed up, and it was like a very special moment when she came to visit. It was like the highlight of the trip. But it's really cool because it's a once in a lifetime. It's the world's kind of only stated 7-star hotel. But, you know, I'm never seeing inside a suite because these are thousands of dirhams. So I think that's why getting past the door is one thing. Like, getting past the door, how did that happen? And then actually getting into a suite. So I think this is what people are interested in. And basically, a quick rundown. If you're watching on Instagram, we have the video on our page. If you're watching on Facebook, you can see the video beside us. There are 8 varieties of suite in the Burj Al Arab. The presidential one comes with a private library, which is interesting in itself. I'm like, books? What language are the books? Are they? I don't know, because I think there's people from all over the world. You get a private butler. 2 dressing rooms. Of course, you get access to Wild Wadi and the Somersault Beach Club, which is fabulous at the Jumeirah Al Naseem. The presidential suite itself has a 24-hour concierge. So someone at your beck and call every single minute, every single hour of every single day, which would be interesting.
I'm speechless.
But if you go to a regular hotel, which is a treat in itself, and you use all the shampoos, you use all the moisturizers, does that mean I would find it quite, because if I'm in a room that has access to a 24-hour concierge, I want to make use of it, but I'm there because I want a good night's sleep and I want a comfy bed set up. So I'm like, do I stay up all night just to call them? Do you know what I mean?
Kind of, yeah. I kind of get what you mean.
Is that like the inner cheap person in me? Is like, I want to get the most out of my money. But surely if I'm there, I would be invited, because basically what's cool about this, if you have the cash to splash, a room, one of the suites, 24K. For 6 people. So you only need one friend who can pay for it. And then it goes up to 38K. And I think this was taken from the website, so it could vary depending on where you get your prices. 38K for 8 people. I didn't know you could do 8 people. Could you imagine like your whole like family and extra family coming into the room? But it's really incredible. I have to say, in the comments, some people were not kind about the interiors. And then a lot of people were like, they created this. It was literally spectacular when this was unveiled to the world. It's interesting, it's unique, it's a style, it's luxury to a T. Like, I remember going in and seeing like gold plated everything, and then you have this incredible water fountain, and the room itself kind of follows that style. Staying there would just be probably
heaven on earth.
Mind-boggling. Just at like how extreme it is as a hotel room. Your thoughts? Would you like to stay there, or would you rather a different hotel? And if so, what is your dream hotel in Dubai? Do you have a dream hotel in Dubai to stay in, Ali?
Me? I think the one that I liked the most was Atlantis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to see the aquarium and fish all the time, so that was kind of interesting.
Have you stayed there?
Yeah. But it was like a few years back.
Was it? It wasn't the room with because they Atlantis have rooms that have aquariums in it, which is like. Was that it?
I think so, if I can remember. It was a few years back. Yeah.
Ali, cool room. What was the occasion? No, that's incredible. I don't know if I have one. I have like a list of like 10. I like the desert ones. I like the ones where, like, let's say the Ritz-Carlton in Ras Al Khaimah, where you have kind of I like privacy, so like a whole setup. It's nearly a cabin in the desert that's got a private pool, like something like that. Just put me away, get me away from. That's amazing. But that is it, guys. 1 second. After the break, we have the man himself, Chris Fade, on the show. He was down at UFC 257 yesterday. He was there as a fan, a lover of the UFC, and we talked to him about what events are like down there in the capital at the new Etihad Arena. And it was kind of cool. We had Virgin Radio's Chris Fade on the show here on the Lovin Daily. We have an interview with them every 2 weeks, which is really cool. We get to update them on Lovin Dubai's top trending stories. And then we had Chris Fade and I was interviewing them, which is pretty weird. Tables are turned. That is strange. But really cool. The most energetic man in Dubai interview is after the break, so stay with us. I have the one and only voice of Dubai on the show right now. It's Chris Fade. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Wow, look at roles are reversed. Usually I'm on Burj and, doing all of that. Now you're doing it in Lovin Dubai.
Well,
You're coming for my job. You are coming for my job.
Close enough, close. But it must be weird to be the person getting interviewed.
Nah, it's happening. It's good. I'll somehow revert this onto you, though. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling very, very good. I'm still kind of hyped from yesterday. We were talking about the UFC. We had the show going on. We tried to watch it live, but you were down there, the first spectator event, UFC 257. How is it different to other years? How is it different to other events?
You know what? Funny enough, about 11 years ago when the UFC first came to the UAE, they were in Abu Dhabi, and I went to that fight. It was crazy. I was into UFC back then, and to see it then and then to see it now, it was completely different. But the guys just did an amazing job. Shout out to the UAE, the organizers. I think it was Flash, obviously, Abu Dhabi, just fantastic. The UFC in general. Dana White and the team were amazing. We rocked up to Etihad Arena. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. I left home at 3:45 a.m. The fight cards began at around 2:30 with the main event happening at 9:30 in the morning. So I didn't want to spend the entire time there. I think I would have fallen asleep at some stage with the hours. So we planned to rock up at around 5:30 a.m., which we did. Left Dubai, was at the arena, outside Etihad Arena, by around 5:15. And I thought to myself, all right, well, here's going to be a process trying to get into the arena. Yeah. And I tell you, no word of a lie, from car in the car park to sitting in our seats, 10 minutes. It was just done so well. We had our temperature checked as we walked in. We then had to show our PCR test. You had to have a PCR test to walk inside Etihad Arena.
Wow.
All staff were sort of trained up and ready to go. And then walked up to Etihad Arena, sat in our seats, and we were ready to go.
Amazing. But so these events, they usually have really rowdy crowds. Like, the crowds love it. It's as much about the hype in the venue as it is about what's actually going on in the ring. So if you have a crowd, like you said, waiting there for a couple of hours, and also like the fans are socially distanced, is it the same atmosphere?
Yeah, you know what? The Irish were in town, which I love because they are super vocal. They are super vocal. And yeah, I know. And the flags are up. But again, the capacity of this venue is approximately 17,000. They only sold 2,000 tickets. So they really did a great job of sort of moving everybody about. There was security there. You could see the teams involved just making sure that social distancing was in place. But listen, for a crowd of 2,000, I felt like we sounded like we were 10,000. I actually turned to my buddy Muhammad and I said to him, man, could you imagine? This is 2,000 people. Imagine if this thing was filled to 17,000 capacity. They've built the stadium somehow that the acoustics in it, it just sounds superb. So everyone did a really, really good job. Most people were masked up. The only time where I saw that there was a little bit of non-social distance was going on was when McGregor came out. When he was walking out of the tunnel, you saw a bunch of people run over. Now, they were all wearing their masks, but they're all just trying to get a glimpse of notorious McGregor. But, apart from that, it was good. It was a little rowdy, they had some of the beverages flowing at 8 a.m. in the morning, and you could see some of the spectators getting on it, as you would, they just want to be part of the vibe. And you know, good on them. A lot of them rocked up at 2 a.m. in the morning and were there for every single fight. So I've got to say the atmosphere was great. I was there watching everybody sort of walk out at around 10 a.m. I wanted to see what the vibe was like. And, you know, like any sporting event, they were coming out rowdy. They were having fun, but everyone was in line and everyone had their masks on. And like 99% of the people that are here in the UAE, I feel like we respect the rules and regulations. I think that's one of the difference between here and, you know, back home, maybe for you guys in the UK or Australia or wherever it is, where, you know, people, they fight those rules. I feel like here we sort of, they tell us what we got to do and we do it and we just get on with it, you know. So well done to all involved, the spectators, you know, the fans, and the venue itself and the organisers.
No, 100%. And you see how successful it was, which means hopefully in future we can have more and more and more, which is amazing. But just so quickly, just so I give an idea of the crowd. So you said that there was a little bit of rowdiness when they ran towards McGregor, but was everyone in set seats or was it standing? And was everyone socially distanced at 3 meters, or did that change with the rules that just came in? Like, do you think they actually had to lower capacity, or how did that work?
Yeah, so they definitely lowered capacity. They could have sold 17,000 tickets. That could have been a sellout, but they restricted it to 2,000 tickets. It was totally, so it was the way that they've done this, and it's interesting. I spoke to Dana White maybe a month ago on this, and I said to him, how do you have to change the way that you run your organization? And he says, well, we just create our own bubble and no one will come within that bubble. And it's really interesting because even within the arena itself, there is a bubble within a bubble. So anyone that's associated with the UFC, their commentators, their ring girls, their referees, their camera guys, all that, they're within their own bubble. So if you can imagine the octagon, it has also got its own glass perspex around the entire thing. So they're within their own bubble. So if you're sitting front row, which a lot of the spectators were, you have a glass sheet in front of you just to make sure that there's, obviously, if you're yelling or whatever it is going out. And that's also separated by at least 20 feet, I would say, a lot more than 3 meters. So there's a huge gap between that. So they've formed their own bubble within the bubble, which is pretty fantastic. You know, the spectator-wise, yeah, everyone was basically like sort of spread out. There were clusters of people together. Now, I don't know if that's because they're within the same family or they're within the same clique. I'm not sure, but there were certain groups of people. But from everything that I could see, you know, everyone was sort of separated. You know, I was sitting in the Etihad box, and even every second seat was filled. So you had to have you weren't allowed to sit right next to each other. Every second seat was said, "Hey, you can't sit here." So yeah. You like how I just dropped. I was in the Etihad box. I had to drop that in. You know.
Well, I don't know if you're working with them or if that's just fancy, but it sounds very, very cool. So Etihad, if you're listening, I'm available for the next one. But finally, so before the fight, McGregor said he wanted to do it in 1 minute. He wanted to knock Poirier out. Poirier entered the octagon as an underdog. The fight totally went on its head. He knocked him out in the second round. It was amazing. What was the kind of, you said there was a lot of Irish girls and guys there. What was kind of the feeling after the knockout? Were people happy with the fight?
I think people were happy with the fight. The result, not so much. You could see a lot of the audience. It sort of just went silent. So whenever the favorite loses in anything, they just go silent because you're in a state of shock for a moment. So you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it happened. If you're a UFC fan and you understand the basics of what this sport is all about, listen, Poirier was never an underdog. You know, the last time they fought was 7 years ago. They were at different levels. They're both around the same age. They're both around the same height, the same strength, the same reach. You knew for a fact that Poirier had a great fighting chance. Now, McGregor controlled the first round and even the first half of the second round. But as he stated, he took a low calf kick. And I've actually spoken to someone within his direct team. That's what sort of did it. That low calf kick really just disabled him. And if you're a fighter and if you take someone legs out, no matter what they've got up here, you take someone legs out, it's really hard for them to continue. So that low calf kick from Poirier, they would have been practicing that in training, you know, sort of to attack McGregor all over the place. But you know what? Good on McGregor. He took it on the chin, no pun intended. He's come out to say, you know, the guy was a better fighter. Well done to him. He wants to get trilogy underway. He wants number 3. So he hasn't said, you know, people were speculating that he was going retire on this one. He wants a third one. They've fought twice. It's 1-1. Why not get the third one in? Let's see if Dana White and the team will do it. But, you know, the fans were fine. The fans were good. You know, you could see some of them really, really upset. But Poirier also had a bunch of fans there as well. You could hear them cheering when he won. But well done to the sport. Again, I think the biggest winner out of this, there's two. There's us as spectators. I think we get to do it. And the other one is the UAE. You know, millions of people are watching this around the world. I had, like yourself, I'm sure, I had a bunch of friends from around the world just going, oh my gosh, it's in Abu Dhabi. Are you there? Are you there? And it's like, yeah, mate, I'm here. It's like, so I think we're all winners. And, you know, in such hard times as we're living in right now with COVID, any type of sport that's going on right now, especially here in this country, should be appreciative of.
I mean, exactly, because we're not all, like, I'm not a huge UFC fan, but I'm watching this and I'm loving it. Thank you so much. I just think the fighters can't leave it there. It's not going to be 1-1. They're both sportsmen. They want more, so we will see another fight. Chris Fade, busiest man in Dubai, thank you so much for your time, and we'll have this live tomorrow morning. So guys, if you're watching, it's a little bit of video inception. We shot this yesterday.
Why did you say that? You just spoiled the whole thing. I know.
Because my outfit changes, so I need.
Oh, no, we are live. Casey is absolutely lying. We are live right now. If you look outside, it's sort of blue skies, but hazy as well. If you're across the UAE, we're out. Thank you.
We don't say it, but because you're on Virgin right now, it's 8:30 in the morning. Chris is two places at once. He's amazing.
All right. Make sure you listen to Virgin Radio 104.4 right now. We're on. I'm doing two. Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye, Chris. Talk to you soon.
Bye.